On Saturday night, the World of Outlaws, Case Construction, Late Models, and the Prairie Dirt Classic put on the race of the year. This was a absolutely epic race from start to finish. There was so much stuff that happened. There was racing throughout the entire race. We had multiple storylines, whether it was Ricky Thornton Jr. hitting the wall after chasing down Nick Hoffman, racing for the lead with 10 laps to go, whether it was Bobby Pierce making his way through the field, coming from 24th, and then spinning out as soon as he got to 4th place, trying to push to the lead there, and then coming back and winning the race, passing Nick Hoffman on the last lap. There were so many things that happened during this race. It was absolutely an epic race, and we are here to talk about it. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. So the biggest storyline kind of going into it was that Hudson O'Neal, he packed up and left, wasn't even going to try and make it after basically going to have to be really deep in some of those last chance showdown races. So he didn't even attempt to make the show. So I think that was a big storyline going into the race. And then right off the bat, we had some great racing here between Jason Fager and Brandon Sheppard. Brandon Sheppard will come out on top, but let's take a look at this right here. This is the very beginning of the race. Fager gets a really good start, but Brandon Sheppard would not be denied. Really gets a really great run off that top side coming out of turn 2. Powers down the backstretch and would take the lead coming out of turn 4. And he would lead the first lap of the race. And he would remain the leader for a significant portion of the race. We skip ahead here. We're around, what are we at? Lap 20, I believe, right here. And we had some absolutely epic racing here. This is where we would see Brandon Sheppard, Nick Hoffman, Ryan Gustin. They're all kind of bunched together. Sheppard has just kind of got into lap traffic, and they're all just racing for the lead. We got like almost a 4-car battle for the lead here because I think Fager comes in. McCready is there as well. This was absolutely epic, and we're going to see how much these guys were pushing it, even just a fifth of the way through the race, because you're going to see Ryan Gustin, who's in second place. He's going to clip the inside tire here, do significant damage to his nose. And while he is kind of struggling, Nick Hoffman is able to take the lead here from Brandon Sheppard. So let's take a look at this right here. So just absolutely epic race here. There you see Gustin just driving it down, clips it there, clips it even harder on the next one. Significant damage. He would eventually bring out the caution a couple laps later, but then we saw this really epic battle for the lead here. Hoffman on the outside, Sheppard on the inside, and this is kind of the story of the day. If you wanted to, and then here we go, see Gustin having issues there, and I'm guessing Hoffman did indeed take the lead there, beat Sheppard at the start, and that would really kind of be bad news for Brandon Sheppard because he would never be able to reclaim the lead. Has a really bad restart after this. Hoffman would stay in the lead until the very last lap of the race. But unfortunate for Ryan Gustin here. He was up there, and I think he had something maybe for Hoffman, maybe for Bobby Pierce late in the race if he would have been able to stay there and hadn't damaged his car significantly there. But that's how much these guys were pushing it. I mean, an inch on that tire there. Let's skip ahead here. We did get some really good racing. This is about 10 laps later. We're at the lap 31 mark, I think, right here, where Hoffman was challenged by Tim McCready, and we had some really good racing here between these two for the lead. So you can just see some of this right here. Really good stuff. McCready trying his best to try and figure out a way to get around Hoffman. Hoffman doing a really good job of keeping McCready behind him. Running that outside lane. I think the outside lane definitely became the dominant lane, especially towards the end of the race. But you can see here, really good racing with these two guys. And then obviously the racing in the back of the field was really good as well, because we started seeing Pierce and Ricky Thornton Jr. both moving their way up through the field. I think Pierce started in 24th and Ricky Thornton Jr. started in 21st, and they were both kind of following each other up. You can see Pierce has already moved up to 10th, and Ricky Thornton is in 13th there on your screen. Let's jump ahead a little bit further here. This is about 47 lap. This is lap 47, and this was some epic racing here between Brian Shirley and Hudson O'Neal for the second position. Brian Shirley had a great run going here. Let's take a look. He was He actually is pushing it so hard, another kind of gets into the wall there. But just a few laps later, he would indeed pass McCready for that second position. But you see how these guys were really pushing it throughout this race. No matter what lap they were on, they were going for it. Really, really good racing there. I just wanted to highlight Brian Shirley and how well he did during this race, racing in third there, and would eventually get up into that second position past McCready just a few laps later. I think, I actually have him here. I think he actually passes him He passes him on lap 52, so 4 laps later. The one thing I will point out here, as we were kind of having this really long green flag stretch, announcer Mike Norris kept asking for a caution so he could have like better racing. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is like absolutely fantastic racing. Why do you want a caution? This is so good. Give me James Essick. Please stay green. That's what I wanted. And I think that's what a lot of fans wanted. And that's what we got. Fortunately, for much of that end of the race here, we did get Please Stay Green. And it turned out to be excellent, excellent racing. I think that's one of the reasons why this is is one of the race of the year. This is the race of the year right now. So let's skip ahead here. Lap 61. This is where one of the big storylines happening here. Bobby Pierce had moved up into the top 5. He just gets around Mike Marlar. He's into 4th. And he's hunting down Tim McCready there in 3rd. We've got a lap car here. I think it is, I didn't write this one down. I think, we got the lap car here though. You're going to see him up on the outside. I think that's Mike Spatola. And then Pierce just dives it in really hard here, makes contact with McCready, just drives it in a little bit too much, spins himself out, and goes to the rear of the field, or at least the rear of the lead lap. Caution, obviously, coming out for him spinning around. And so looks like maybe it's over. Obviously, he still has 40 laps to go. It took him 60 laps just to get into the 4th position there. Now he's only got 40 laps, but obviously he had moved up. I don't think the lead lap was as much. He was able to go to the pits and I believe change a tire. I've seen some controversy with that. I haven't looked into that on what that is. I know that people were pointing out that Kyle Larson was not able to change a tire earlier in the season, but I don't know if there's like different rules for these 100-lap races or not, but I did notice that there were a bunch of people doing this. It wasn't just Pierce. We saw other people during cautions would come in and change their right rears when their tires were clearly not flat. So I don't know what was going on there, but I didn't really have. I assume that the World Outlaws officials were on top of it. I don't think anything was up to. I don't think there was any shenanigans or anything like that there. I think that was just people talking online. So this was a huge part. This is a huge turning point in the race. Bobby Pierce back to the end of the lead lap, and he would have to work his way back through the field. If we jump ahead here, it became the Ricky Thornton Jr. show after Pierce spun out. Here he is working his way through the field, challenging Tim McCready. You can see he's already up to 5th and challenging McCready for 4th. I just wanted to highlight this because I thought this was just some fantastic racing here. Like lap 77, we get some 3 wides between McCready, Thornton, and Dalton Wilson here, who was had a fantastic race, hugging the bottom of the track here. Let's take a look. So just great racing. Ricky Thornton Jr. really making that top work right there. Here comes Dalton Wilson. They're going to go 3 wide here going into turns 3 and 4. Look at this, man. It doesn't get any better than this. Why are we double boxing here? We want to focus on that McCready, Thornton, and Dalton Wilson race there. So that was just really good. But Ricky Thornton able to get around on the outside, much like how Bobby Pierce was getting around, and he would continue to do that as he marched his way through the field. The rest of the field here. Here is some more 3-wide racing here. This is Shirley, Dalton Wilson, and Ricky Thornton Jr. This was really good stuff here too. Like I said, Dalton Wilson had a car. He was able to really work that inside, but Ricky Thornton Jr. was just ripping the lip there, working that cushion, scraping the wall with that right rear. I mean, look at this. This is just fantastic. 3 wide. They split Shirley, and they're still going. And Shirley's fighting them for position, right? Shirley's there. He's in 5th. But this was just fantastic racing. And all while this is happening, Nick Hoffman is not really being challenged at this point. Marlar has moved up to 2nd, which you can see there on the scoreboard. So let's move over here. This is with less than 10 laps to go. And this is where things all go wrong for Ricky Thornton Jr. Nick Hoffman is able to get around Garrett Smith, Ricky Thornton Jr. has a lot of trouble with him because he's taking away his outside line there. So Thornton tries a huge slider. It works until he hits the wall there. I think it's a drive shaft issue, they said during the live broadcast. Immediately brings it to the hot pit area, and it would be a night for him, bringing out the caution. And so then it becomes the Bobby Pierce show once again. You can see Pierce is already up to third place here now. Has worked his way through the field already. While Ricky Thornton Jr. was hunting down Nick Hoffman, Pierce was silently working his way up through the field as well. And he would eventually have to work past Mike Marlar, though. 5 laps to go. He does indeed do that. Here's the pass.
Oh, man. Back to the outside.
Marlar did a really good job of keeping Pierce behind him, but Pierce makes this excellent move here with the crossover coming down the inside of him on the front stretch. The slide job there into 1 and 2 and completing the pass coming out of turn 2 and down the stretch. And then you see Dalton Wilson just working it on the inside there. The guy was silent assassin, Dalton Wilson there. No, he's big perm, but he was very, very silent down there on the bottom, but had a really good showing. And then here is the money lap. Pierce was able to get to the back of Nick Hoffman and is able to pass him on the last lap. Here it is right here. 1 lap to go. Hoffman to the inside, Pierce to the outside. Pierce gets him down the backstretch, cuts him down into turns 3 and 4, and really just kills Hoffman's momentum. Nothing to do there, and Pierce comes home with the checkered flag. What an absolute fantastic, fantastic race. Race of the year, no doubt. I mean, and these are just some of the pieces that I highlighted. I have a whole page here of highlights. I don't know if I have a whole of notes that I took. It's full. I usually don't have a full page, but there's a full page because that's how absolutely awesome it was. And it's not full of cautions. It's full of just fantastic, excellent racing. And there was so much throughout. I'm just highlighting some of it here. This was Race of the Year. I absolutely love this. This is why Dirt Super Late Model is the best racing out there, bar none. Especially when you go to a track like Fairbury. And I will say this. It really depends on the track, because if they're going to like Smoky Mountain, we saw Hunt the Front there. We saw, I think it was World of Outlaws there, and it was not good. It was 1-lane racing. It's not good. But you go to a place like Fairbury, it's absolutely fantastic. So I will say, I will put that caveat. It really depends on the track that they're going to. But if they get a fantastic track like Fairbury, you go to some of these gyms, you go to Macon, you go to a lot of these Illinois bull rings, you go to up to Farmer City. These are the gems. They're absolutely fantastic, and they put on a show, and there is nothing better. There is nothing better, in my opinion, when it comes to oval racing in general. It's that good. This is the best that there is out there. So I highly enjoyed this race. It was absolutely fantastic. And it was just awesome. You can't get anything better than that. There's, like I said, so many storylines. Ryan Gustin, Ricky Thornton Jr., Bobby Pierce last lap pass, Nick Hoffman dominating the race, Brandon Sheppard getting past right as Gustin has that issue, barely getting beat to the line there, and then having some bad restarts, putting behind. And I think he eventually brings out a caution as well late in the race. Jason Fager having a fantastic run, but then bringing out 2 cautions late in the race after he gets kind of mired a little bit back. Obviously, car fading. I mean, there's just so much stuff that happened. There was so much racing throughout the field. I can't even imagine if you were there. It must have been absolutely fantastic. Where are you supposed to be paying attention? Because there was so much stuff happening if you were there at the track. Again, loved it. This is definitely a race that I want to go to in person. And hopefully maybe next year I'm able to get there. That's how great this was. This is inspiring me to actually go there in person and watch it next year. And if you aren't watching the World Outlaws, Case Construction, late models, you should be, especially when they're going to places like Fairbury and the Prairie Dirt Classic. This was a gem and definitely race of the year. And it's going to be hard to top this. I don't know if we'll have a race that tops this. This was fantastic. But let me know what you guys made of this. Let me know in the comments below.